All right, so for this Astrology Explains It All, you've seen in the description box, in the title, who I'm talking about. And I think it's interesting to use astrology to see how these signs and energies work together, and because these are examples we all see, right? And so, we're going to first start with August Alsina, because he recently put out a song. The song is called Entanglements. For those of you who've been following this Jada, August, Will situation, I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, because if you're watching this video, you probably already know. If not, you can click. I did a video 2 weeks ago about this. But in general, he came out with the song. Rick Ross is on it. And, he had some little bit more details about this situation. It is not a love song, okay? So don't get that in your mind. It's not a love song. Some people could view it as, unnecessary, or like some of the stuff mentioned is disrespectful. Some people were saying it seems like he's trying to make the song just to say, oh, you were only trying to get back at Will. That was the theme of the song, is what some people were saying. I did listen to it. It's on YouTube, on his channel, if you want to listen to it, on August. So, he's now talking about this in a different way than he did with Angela Yee. And let's talk about the fact that the sun, right, the sun sign is your ego, how you're going to project yourself, what you are comfortable projecting, what you are confident about is your sun. And so that's why the sun sign is more of that shell, of the energy you walk in, right? And so, of course, when he first did the interview with Angela Yee, he was more calm. He was more poised, right? He wasn't as much, he wasn't angry. He was kind of chill. He wasn't giving the specific details, but he was kind of explaining what happened. He was explaining more his feelings than he was details. This song is now the details. So what we have to think about is the fact that, of course, when you first project something, you're going to project what you feel comfortable projecting. But now, because of what people have been saying in response to this, now you're seeing, I'm sorry about the lighting. Listen, I am not a professional YouTuber, okay? I just come up here, share some information and some knowledge. So I'm sorry if the lighting keeps messing up. I've tried it like 3 times. At this point, I'm just like, let me just get this video done. And my phone is charging, so I cannot use my phone to record. But you should just be listening to what I'm saying, hopefully anyway. Like I'm not here for appearances or anything like that. The moon is that reaction. The moon is where we go to feel safe. And when a person feels attacked or hurt or upset or whatever, anytime you're working from an emotional place, it's your moon sign. His moon is in Sagittarius. And so I'm a moon Sag too. Now, even though I would have went about the situation probably differently, completely, but if you think about it, what is a moon and Sag person going to do? So he looks at it like, I already told people what's going on. So I already presented myself as the sun in Virgo, where I was telling the information, where I was calm, where I was reserved, where I was using my words in a way so people can understand. So at first he might have thought that is going to be enough. Let me just get out there and say my part. This is what happened. But then when people started to say certain things, tweet him online, all these different things, now there's a different reaction he feels needs to come out. So now you see the moon. The moon and Sag comes out. That's what Virgo sun Sag moons are like, though. And I know because I have one. It's like you're not going to get that kind of that blunt rawness typically from an emotional lens until something stirs that Virgo up. Because at first he was trying to put on this like, listen, this is what it was. This is what it is. I don't have no issues. And he still's not saying anything really disrespectful about Jada personally. But the details of the song, it's kind of like, it's not a love song, as I'm saying before. It is not a love song. It's not an ode appreciation for Jada. Okay. He's not calling her names or anything like that, but it's not a love song. So that's what it is. That moon and Sag reaction to, and what's a moon and Sag going to do? Tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth here. Okay. And that's what he's basically doing with the song. Now his Mars is also in Gemini. There's a lot of mutable energy in August chart. So when someone's mutable, it's kind of like you don't kind of know what you're going to get. Now, Mars is more that action. Mars is that action. That Mars in Gemini, now we're chatty. We're talking. We're not afraid to go do something that's going to spread information. That's Mars in Gemini and Mars in Gemini. And when you put Sag and Gemini together, that's it. One, they're opposite signs, but you have it creates something. And sometimes it can be a bit much. I'm going to be honest. Sag and Gemini energy together in a chart can be a bit much. I'm not going to go into detail about that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it evokes something. So now you're doing the Gemini, which Gemini is really about information. And even when people say things like, oh, they're gossipy, or oh, they're talking behind my back, or whatever stereotypes, Gemini, when we look at the energy of Gemini, forget the person, it's about information. It's really about going to people around you and sharing things, and usually in a good way. You know, the energy of it is not gossipy or whatever experience people claim to have with individuals. But the thing you have to understand is Sagittarius, though, is now a belief, a truth, a blunt rawness. I have to get this out. And Sagittarius is going to want to carry that. They're looking at it like, this is the message. So that's why sometimes Sag and Gemini together, it's a powerful opposite signs when it comes to information and knowledge. But sometimes when it comes to how it comes across, it can be pretty extreme. And so here's what we have. And so that's basically why he's responding the way that he's responding. Well, Will respond? We don't know. Will's a Mars and Virgo. So Will actually has a lot of Virgo in his chart, even though he's a Libra. So, you know, I don't think Will's gonna be as responsive about this, maybe. But trust me, if he does respond at all to any of this, it's going to be because he has thought about it, and it's somehow going to be an advantage to Will. Because some people are like, oh, is he going to respond back? The song isn't really calling anyone names, disrespecting anyone. If Jada ever responds to this, it's going to be a statement. Jada is going to have a well thought out statement. Jada is also a Mercury in Virgo, and she has a moon in Virgo. So like her emotional response to things is going to be to explain, to break things down. She feels the need to kind of break things down further because emotionally that's how she processes things, through information as a moon in Virgo. All right. So let's talk about these Libras. Okay. So I'm going to read what I said about the Libra horoscope, and I want to talk briefly. So we know Nick Cannon is in the news. He did not have a really good week. You know, his statements, you know, he made statements that people, you know, were offended by. They say they were anti-Semitic. And then he, it was just a strange series of events. So he made the statements, and then he demanded rights to Wild 'N Out. Viacom was going to, you know, take away his right, something like that, because people were mad at him and like, you know, you're provoking certain types of, you know, sentiments towards Jews, and that's not right. And he, you know, apologized. But it's still kind of like, Nick, I mean, what are you doing? Like, it just, you know, just kind of came out of nowhere. And now he lashed out. Well, I wouldn't say lashed, but then he made a tweet where he was like mad at the Black community. And he's like, you know, it was just strange like things. It's like, what are you doing? What are you saying this for? Like, the thing about having a platform for anybody, and he's a Libra, so I'm going to talk about that in a second. The thing about having a platform is like, you really have to be careful of what you say, and, you know, what you're saying it for, and understanding that, you know, some people are like, oh, well, people can say what they want. And there's been a lot of people who say these things. The reality is, you can't say what you want without consequences. Right. And even if you believe something or don't believe something, whatever the case may be, people have a right to respond and react to it. So again, I'm not going into depth. If you want to look up what the situation was, the web's going to have more information than I am. All I know is like, it came out of nowhere. And, you know, Nick got backlash for it. Now he's a Libra and Will's a Libra. So I want to read what I said about the Libra, and I want you to connect the dots before I do. So this was the Libra horoscope. Okay, for this month that I wrote on my Instagram. The home and career are themes this month, with Cancer and Capricorn taking place in the opposite signs house. Cancer in its opposite signs house, the 10th, career, and Capricorn in its opposite signs house, home, family, emotions. The energy of this month will impact you in one of these areas in a way that makes something crystal clear. I said this about Libra. Capricorn's serious energy in 4th preserves the home and awareness that familiar and personal goals are just as important as career ones. Cancer in the 10th helps you see the importance of reputation not only being about what you can do, but how you make others feel. Whereas Capricorn cares about reputation in 10th, Cancer is much more in touch with their inner needs. So you may choose family over praise and career this month. Mars in Aries, and 7th fires up your personal connections, and you may find yourself taking the lead a little bit more than usual. Let's talk about the fact Mars is in Aries. So Mars is Aries is the opposite sign of Libra. Okay, so for some Libras, that Mars, that impulse, that energy is there. And so one with Nick being a Libra sun, Libra moon, you can't, how do I say this? Nick, first of all, is very successful. He's been very successful from a young age. And that is what I always say about Libra energy. It is cardinal. And a lot of times people will stereotype Libra and like, oh, they're pushovers and they're trying to be nice too much and they care too much what other people think. There's an element to caring what people think because they're ruled by Venus. And so that's what I said. When we're looking at stereotypes, we're looking at things, we have to look at the information of why that someone's saying that. But Nick is successful. But the thing about Libra is Libra sun, Libra moon, right? If I look at Nick Cannon, he's a Libra sun, Libra moon. Let me say this. Let me see, make sure I'm right. What you can't, a Libra sun, Libra moon can't handle emotionally or image-wise controversy. Like, you just can't handle it. And I said, that's why I said, like, he's successful. And he has talked about his concerns with race and things like that before on his platforms. So to go this way is just weird and strange if you're trying to stay in an entertainment type of industry. Again, in any industry, you know, people are going to be offended when you say certain things and you put certain ideas out there that, you know, are casting a wide net over a group of people. Like, that's going to be a concern for a lot of people. And so the thing I'm saying is, like, a Libra can't handle that. A Libra can't, you don't need to. And that's why I said Libras can be successful. They're cardinal energy. Libras, they have really great social grace. They can play, when you're very two-sided, not like a Gemini. Gemini's duality, but Libra's ability to think on both sides. That's why you get along with so many different people. You know, a lot of people, like a Scorpio is going to get along with Scorpio type of energy that flows with them. I'm not saying Scorpio's only get along with Scorpio. I'm saying Scorpio is kind of going to be that one track kind of energy, right? But with Libra and that's, you can get along with people when you center that, because now you have connections. And Libra also is intellectual, right? We have communication going on there. It's an air sign. So Libra sun, Libra moon, you know, and that's why I said that we have to look at astrology in this charts, is because it's like, you can't handle that. Now, if he was an Aquarius with a Sag with an Aquarius moon, he wouldn't care what people think, is what I'm trying to say. If you care what people think, you cannot say things and expect no backlash and then think people are going to be okay with that. So I'm saying Libra energy typically does not want to deal with conflict. You're not Aries. If he was an Aries sun, Aries moon, he might not have even apologized. Or he might have found a way to, like, make it about him. So he did apologize. But it's, again, anytime there's an apology, it's up to the people who feel offended to accept the apology or not. Like, let's be honest here. And my point in this video is just to talk about the astrology of it in general. And that the fact is a Libra sun, Libra moon, harmony, dude, harmony, seeing both sides of a situation. Yes, he can have strong opinions. Nick is a Mercury in Scorpio. So actually he wants to be deeper. He wants it. Mercury in Scorpio, you know, he's also, his image has kind of changed the past couple of years, where he is focusing more on certain type of racial ideas and things of that nature. So Mercury and Scorpio wants to dig deeper and understand, but as a Libra sun, Libra moon, you cannot handle conflict. You should not. No. Like, don't even try. Like, even getting yourself in this situation is going to be hard on the Libra moon, because you thrive off likability. You do, like, that's Libra, and that's nothing wrong with that, because Libra can be liked. Other signs have to try. Virgo cup. Other signs have to try. You don't have to. You just are. And so that's why I'm saying, like, he's not in the zone saying this stuff. You know, I don't get what the outcome was, is my point. I don't get what the outcome was, because if he had been a you know, controversial person for years, I mean, there's people who are, like, trying to compare what he said, like, oh, to Farrakhan. Well, Farrakhan has been saying what he's been saying for, like, decades. I mean, Farrakhan is a very different person, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, think he's inflammatory, or they don't agree with his ideology, his beliefs, or whatever the case may be. Let me see. Interesting. Yeah, I don't have a chart for Farrakhan. That's a whole different conversation, but he's a moon in Sag, which I think is very interesting. Okay, let's move on. So, and Will's a Libra as well. So again, I'm talking about the sun sign. I have a video for horoscopes. I have a video I recently showed how to get the most accurate horoscope is going to be using your rising sign. But with Will, he's a Libra sun as well. So what's been happening with Will? Well, both Will and Nick have Cancer in their 10th house. So what's been happening is career or family or emotions have had to come before career. And so for Will, it's like he has to juggle this news and how his family is being perceived, the 10th house being reputation, Libra. And then also Nick, this feeling, this emotions that he, he's going through it. And then he was like, goodbye world and earth or something like that. Like he's kind of showing like an emotional response to this situation that happened because of what he said. Here's the thing. Nobody did anything to you. You said this, you have a public platform. And some people compare it to other people who say racist things or inflammatory things. But at the end of the day, if you have a platform, you have to think about who your audience is, who you work with, who you work for, and all of that. Like, that's just what it is. And so the thing about it is that right now, you're Libra, the spotlight is on you when it comes to your career, Libra. And so, it's very important. It was very important for Libra this month to understand that the 10th house, that career, your image, your public image was going to be very important. I said that at the beginning of July in my horoscopes. Also, now, rising is the most accurate. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, again, with celebrities, it's really hard to know what someone's exact birth chart looks like, especially because some celebrities lie about their age. So you won't even get that information. But I think for a couple of years, we've seen this idea that Will Smith perhaps is a Gemini rising, which would make sense in many different ways if he was. I don't know about August or Nick. But the interesting thing about Will would be for Gemini this month. So again, you would look at your rising sign for Gemini. Like if you wanted to look at that, Gemini. Let me see what's going on with Gemini. So what did I say for Gemini risings this month? Of Gemini, I said Cancer Capricorn takes place in your 2nd and 8th house, showing your own ability to secure yourself while also procuring stability from those around you. So he's trying to secure himself. So not only his image, he's trying to protect their resources. Him and Jada are trying to protect that as well. I think like their image, their resources, their income. I don't think they're in danger of losing income, but I'm just saying like they have to think about those type of things. When you are a celebrity and you are liked, Libra energy kind of thrives off likability. I also said for Gemini, so remember talking about the rising and the sun, when Venus goes direct on the 12th and renewed understanding of where you fit in within your circle and where you start and they begin ends. So if you're seeing this play out in his relationship, and then the Capricorn energy in 8th fosters a transformative or karmic lesson for you as you understand the importance of being grounded and committing to something that has been started. Him and Jade, listen, I do my research and I also just channel the cards. I use cards, and then I also research the transit for each sign, and then I also just use intuition. But yeah, that's what I said. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, read my horoscopes. And again, it's going to look different for different people. So as you can see, that's why Will is trying to preserve his family, right? And his image, his family's image, his family being intact. That's how it's affecting him as a Libra. Whereas for Nick Cannon, he now has to protect his image because of what he said, because he was impulsive, because he didn't think, because here's the thing, like if you're apologizing for something, then you clearly think you did something wrong. So it's kind of like, well, if you didn't think you did something wrong, what about that process? Did you not apologize earlier, or what about it made you say that in the first place? And the thing that I say is like, listen, Libra sun, Libra moon, y'all can't handle backlash like that. It is fine. Y'all are like, there's so much Libra, y'all good, right? Like, you don't gotta start controversy and conflict and drama. Libra, don't do that because you don't like it, all right? And last thing I'm gonna talk about, okay, they're talking a lot about schools being opened back up. A lot of people are concerned because they just don't feel like most schools are prepared to really practice social distancing in a way that's safe. not just for kids, but teachers as well and staff at schools. You know, there's a report recently that says, I believe that like younger kids might not spread it as much, but like once it's middle to high school, there's just as much of chance of catching COVID-19 from them as it is an adult. And my concern, I do have concerns as well about just all of this. As someone who works in education, and also as someone who is a school-age child, of like, what is this going to look like? I think that children did lose like 2.5, 3 months of learning, and that's very serious, and that's it's a shame. And the other thing is, though, other countries that have completely opened up schools, they had a low transmission rate or were at near zero. So that's a very different thing than what we have going on in America, where yes, there are some states worse off than others, but there's really no state that I believe at this moment in time that's decreasing necessarily, like that's really going lower, like a large amount lower. Some states obviously haven't been practicing the safety protocols as other ones, so then they're seeing their rates are going way up. Anyway, let's talk about the astrology of this. Saturn in Capricorn, it's in retrograde right now. And so what's happening right now, why are so many people coming out right now to speak about this? Now, again, it is school season. It's about to be school season. Some schools down south, I believe, start in like early August. So it is about to be school season. But remember what I said, Saturn and Capricorn, we were going to see what people really were about. Saturn and Capricorn brings back authority. We were just in Saturn in Aquarius, where we were being idealistic with our understanding of what we wanted society to look like. People were being more experimental about certain ideas. But now we're going back to tradition, because Capricorn is that paternal energy. So that's why you have all of these places. Now you do have some schools, districts kind of saying, wait a minute, is this safe? Not because they don't want to go back to school, but it's just the reality. What will it look like? What does it look like if someone has it? Does the whole school shut down? Does only the people that remember being around that person shut down? What if multiple people in the school? Like there's so many different things that we've never experienced before. But some schools are doing pretty smart things with it as much as they can. Like they're doing like alternate days, or like the students are not in the building every day, just to cut down on those interactions, and they have like an online learning. So there are things to do, but it's people have the right to be concerned. Because you've never experienced this before. You don't know. We don't know what this is going to look like. We don't know. And so, yes, so that's what I'm saying. Saturn and Capricorn energy, now we're returning back to tradition. Of course, people are going to push people to go back to schools. Of course, guys, come on. Saturn is in Capricorn. Now, again, we haven't seen what it's going to look like. The energy, the transits during that time when schools start back up is going to help us see if there's longevity there, if that's what's going to be the case, if some places are going to shut down and start back up with remote learning and things of that nature. But that was basically it for this video. This Astrology Explains It All. If you want to check out the other ones, I'll link them below. And I'll try to do one again next week, probably, depending on what drama goes on, because I'm hoping by next week. Actually, you know, this Jada and August thing will kind of be over, because I really didn't intend to talk about this week. Like, I literally was not going to talk about it. And then I was just like, what's, the song? And I wanted to tell you guys what the inspiration was for that.